we take attendance, and if you are first time with us today, please scan the QR code as well and become our friend. So thank you. We are going to get started in about 4 minutes. So thank you all so much.
We launched earlier this month in the App Stores. The App Store and Google Play. Yeah, that's exciting.
I thought it was just for signing in.
So the turn rate is up to 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The easiest piece.
So, do you like to do this?
It's not the Candy Crush of your games. There's plenty of those. That's not good. But it's good. Good morning.
I got love. I got some
Well, do you like thought about partnering with any programs that might be interested in
I thought about reaching out to some of these but they do like the League and the Social Society.
his wife's family from here.
Once we lower the churn rate,
He worked in a
user experience,
So he worked at a tech company.
gamify it anymore. I don't know, it's got a very indie game vibe.
Startup server, I'm not sure.
Just went through a facelift.
That is awesome though. I'm glad it's struck on. Never as fast as we wanted.
I know. I was talking to Greg Hilton the other day.
I think so.
And he was like, I don't know, I was just in a funk, right? Because it was launch and then all these problems.
Always.
You know, you've got to improve the game experience. You've got to keep new games being developed. You've got to launch internationally.
Instead of coming in and this is what we're going to do.
And he goes, Dina, he's like, you beat 95% of the people. He's like, you took a product to market. You would make any money. So we made $28. He's like, all right, so now you're in the top 2%.
Right. Right. And it's true, but it's also,
Thank you.
it's one of those things where it's like I get that, but I need to be on like 42%.
I know.
You are.
Two yours too.
So we have a team, so.
All the people that I know,
They're coming on.
they're not high school.
Good. Good. Yeah, it's, trucking along. And it's just been surprising, really. And especially in the ones in my and just reaching out. I don't know, I'm just flabbergasted over the past like 6-9 months. Because, I love my full-time position, because that was always like my supervisor. Yeah, and it was like, let's see how long that is. And now we're 6 months in, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, it feels more real. It doesn't feel like you're just trying to go on an adventure.
Right.
It's like, oh no, this is like not a baby anymore. This is like a child. It's gonna grow into a baby.
It's always like that.
And actually, they were supposed to do I was like, oh man. So when they reached out, I was like, sure, but they should reach out every week. So I was like, let me throw something together.
Let's get the party started. Welcome and good morning. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping and then we're going to jump right in. So if you have not yet, please scan the QR code so we can take attendance. And we're just going to do a quick roll call. If you are new, brand new, first time here today, could you please raise your hand so we can thank you for coming. Anybody else? Hold on, Bob's going to count. He's a slow counter. Could you show me again? Thank you. I appreciate it. 1, 2, 3. Got it good, Bob? Okay. And then anybody, students, do we have any students with us today? We love our students. Wonderful. Thank you. And entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs, do you own a business? We want to see your, yes! Hold on high. County, count, Bob.
The whole room.
Alright, welcome. So, welcome to 1 Million Cups. Our mission, first and foremost, is to lower the barrier of access to education. Come on in. Education, resources, and connections for all types of new, seasoned, and aspiring entrepreneurs. And we are throughout the United States. 1 Million Cups is a national organization, and we all meet weekly on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Our next closest chapter is down in Charleston. Our key pillars. We give presentations, we make authentic connections, we're not just here to network, and we are radically and intentionally inclusive. We are also run for the community, by the community. And what I mean by that is these are your local business owners that are keeping this thriving. So first we'd like to thank the USC Columbia Technology Incubator for housing us every week. And then below are the sponsors that bring you our speakers, our coffee, our marketing. And if you are interested in helping us organize this, you don't get paid. It is purely a volunteer type of position. And the only thing you get are these lousy t-shirts that my gentlemen like to model for us every week. So if you're interested, that's your reward. But being a part of this is really what we get the most benefit of. Our local program, we've been here for over 10 years, and we're held weekly on Wednesday mornings. We have had over 500 entrepreneur presentations, and we also offer educational topics like finance, future frame, networking, and local resources. We usually have one presenter with a 5 to 6 minute presentation, and we follow that with Q&A from the community. We also have some made-it sessions with entrepreneurs coming back who have made over at least $1 million, and they share their stories with us. We are always free, we are always open to the public, and we do caffeinate you, so please come and bring a friend. I want to just pause for a second because I do want to bring up Tom. Tom, can you go ahead and stand, introduce yourself, and tell the group what you're doing?
Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be back. I got sidelined with a little bit of a heart valve replacement surgery, so I've been doing cardiac rehab on Wednesday mornings for the last 3 months. But I started in June, and for June and July, I have the pleasure of following Dr. Davis here as entrepreneur in residence at Richland Library. There's a tremendous level of service and opportunity available through the library here locally. If you go to richlandlibrary.com and look for events, you'll see the listing and the opportunity to schedule time with the entrepreneur in residence to talk about your business, whatever you want to do, and avail yourself of the services of the library. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, back to the speech. So we are calling for presenters. If you are interested in being one of our presenters, there is the link that you can apply to, or you can come and speak to me directly. Remember, this is not a sales pitch. It is not an investor pitch. The goal is to have people understand what you do and some of the challenges you've had in building your business. We love newer companies, or if you just have a brilliant idea that you'd like to talk about in the room. And we also want you to be open to community engagement. You can apply here, and all industries are welcome. We have 2 Facebook pages. One is our Columbia 1 Million Cups Facebook page. You can be a member there. And this is our second Facebook page. This is more of like our family, our home page, and we encourage you to ask questions on here, share resources, and really give a lot of engagement to this page. So if you're not a part of this, go ahead and scan and become a part of this. We'd love to have you. I'll give everybody a quick second. Thank you, everyone. All right, okay, some upcoming notices. So next week, we have canceled our session because of the July 4th holiday. So enjoy your holiday week, everyone. We will see you on July 9th, where we have Matt Beatty coming in. He's gonna be our first Made It session for the summer season, talking about what he has done here in Columbia and what he's currently doing. So we're looking forward to that. Following week, I will be here talking about the importance of our 1 Million Cups community. And after that session, if you'd like to help us and become an organizer, we are taking folks and we're rebuilding for the 25-26 season. So hang out with us afterwards if you are interested. July 23rd, we have Mr. Ron Harvey coming in. He is a former 1 Million Cups organizer. So he's going to come and share why 1 Million Cups was important to him and also tell us about what he is up to now. Without further ado, I do want to present to you our speaker, Miss Kayla Williams. For over a decade, she worked behind the scenes helping others build and streamline their businesses until 2 brain surgeries forced her to reevaluate everything. Instead of letting fear define her future, she chose to step into the spotlight and lead with purpose. And today, Kayla is passionate about helping others rise through resilience, strategy, and systems that actually work. And I'm excited to hear this story. So please help me welcome Kayla Williams.
Hi. If you don't mind, I have my notes like on my phone because it'll follow me along and keep me on track. So as she just said, my name is Kayla Williams. I'm founder, I'm business operations consultant and AI strategist with Twisted Consulting. I'm also the volunteer executive director of a nonprofit called Automotive Service Assistance. And today I went a little different. I didn't go super business heavy in this at first because I wanted to tell you about my journey. Because as an entrepreneur, I feel like, everybody got there in different ways. They asked us to raise our hands if we own a business, and almost everybody in this room did. And everybody has their own story, how they got there, what happened, and I feel that it's important for us as entrepreneurs to share that with other entrepreneurs. Because especially when you're starting out, raise your hand if you started a business and then you were like, why the heck did I do this? What am I doing? Yeah. And so it's important to talk about that journey and the why behind it. Because as we go forward, and even as I do what I do with my businesses, which you'll learn a little bit more about, that's really where it's at. I will talk to these businesses about, why did you start this to begin with whenever they're discouraged? What are your goals? What are your values? How are you operating through what you're doing? Are you shotgun approaching everything? Or are you actually running that through your values and the goals of your business, right? So my unconventional start, my real education actually came through life experience. I am always 100% honest, and I don't have a degree. Now I lost count. I think it's 17 different certifications at this point. But that's because I really couldn't figure it out. I started college and I went to go for my bachelor's, and then I was like, what am I going to use this for? Wait, maybe I should go to this program. Maybe I should go to that program. And I realized that we all had different journeys, but I'd never been exposed to that. My generation, it was college, go get your degree and then you're going to be able to get it a good paying job. And I was like, but which one? There's a million of them, and there's a million different colleges to go to. So I kind of put it on the back burner, and I didn't intentionally never go back for a full degree, but at this point with almost 17 certifications, I could have. But I tailored what I needed, based upon the challenges that I faced, that work that I was doing, and that I love to do. And I just wanted to, put this out there, like I said, because we all have our different journeys. I know entrepreneurs that went and got their master's degree, and then I know some that didn't even finish high school, and that's okay. Y'all good. Come on in. I just started. You didn't miss much. Yeah, it's good. So 10 years behind the curtain. I like to call myself an introverted extrovert. Okay, so I could go and I could people a little bit, but then I was at home on the back end. I started helping so many different businesses over a decade, and it's funny because I realized I started going to these networking events here and there, dipping my toe in the water a couple years back, And I realized that these people were like, I know you. And I know you do stuff. And I know that you probably do stuff for like this person and this company and this person and this company. But I honestly, what do you do? And that was me though. I was fine with that. I was fine kind of living in the shadows and growing other people. But then I accidentally started my business because people kept referring me out. And you know, once you make so much money, you need to become legal, guys. Okay, keep that in mind. Talk to a tax person. So yeah, after about 10 years of being behind the curtains and growing multiple businesses, helping quite a few even reach that $1 million mark, I was like, man, I want to invest in myself, but there was a lot of fear behind it, right? Which is ironic because when I talk to my customers and my clients, I talk them through their fear. You know, those who can't do teach sometimes. So that's how that started. And then I had a wake-up call. Here's me with a beautiful bald head. I think I rocked it. You know, I almost kept it because that feel, whenever you feel like that. But 2022, I had to have my first brain surgery. Fun to find out, I have masses within my spinal cord itself, not just my spine, so they are inoperable. But they did have to go in and release pressure off of my brain. This is my beautiful son. He's now 16. He looks nothing like this. But this was him a couple of years ago. And I really had to make a choice. It's so funny because somebody had asked me, like, you hear that question all the time. Like, if you're on your deathbed, like, what would you regret? Well, I had the opportunity. I had to do some thinking. I was stuck in the hospital bed. And I realized that I regretted just not putting myself out there. I regretted not growing my own business. I regretted not using those strengths. Because, y'all, let me tell you, my brain is operational 24/7. It is always thinking about the best way to streamline things and do things in my personal and professional life. And I was like, I hate to be, first off, I judged myself for thinking about work at that time. But work is a big part of our lives, And I realized I was like, I'm doing what I love, but I'm not doing it how I love it. And that needed to change. I did have to go through a second brain surgery, and I didn't put this on the slide, but I had to go through another one shortly after in 2023. So December 2023 was my second one. And after that, between those two times, August of 2022 and August 2023, man, let me tell you, I came out of the hospital and I had the game plan for this ready. My mother and I co-founded this nonprofit because I thought about it for so long. I just had to put pen to paper, right? And that's really the first step. Whenever you're starting, put pen to paper, thought dump, see what happens. So we had like a whole game plan. We had been talking about it in the hospital. I was so excited to get out. Then I found out I had to have my second surgery, and that was really the kick in the tush. I was like, look, my time here is limited. Everybody's time is limited, right? So why am I letting fear hold me back from what I love to do? And that this is really, I talk about this experience because it helps me in what I do every day. I see it every day within my clients, fear holding them back from their growth, holding them back from even getting started, holding them back from succeeding, right? So automotive service assistants, we're 3 years old now, and we provide funding on a sliding scale fee for automotive repair and maintenance. And then we also do automotive education in the community. So like how to change a tire class, stuff like that. People bring their cars, I have them take their tires and put them back on. So they got to do it right so they can get home. We do double check it for insurance purposes. But yeah, so that we got that on the road and going. I have an amazing board. We've done some great things here in the community. We're still considered a very small nonprofit, but that got going rather quickly actually because it's a need, right? And then it was time for me to really focus on what I wanted to do here. Now let me tell you a little bit though. Remember my son in that other picture? He used to play roller derby and his name was Twisted Toodles. QN, Twisted Consulting. So that was my inspiration there. I did ask him before utilizing his name, even though he didn't have a copyright. But what I had to do first was figure out like what my buckets were. I didn't want to shotgun approach this. I had been utilized by many companies to do many different things. And I'll be honest, I went into AI and I started listing out like all the stuff that I do. And it ended up being like a 3-page document that I just kind of thought dumped into. And it said, oh, you do business operations and you do AI strategy. That's what you do. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It all falls under that. And then came just putting myself out there and starting. And the amazing part is, once I made that decision, I mean, God, universe, whatever you want to believe in, came through. Like I made that decision to believe in myself and invest in myself. And then next thing you know, within the next month or so, I had 3-4 clients knocking at my door. I had all these meetings that I was going to. Now that was an adjustment because like I said, I was an introverted extrovert there. I had to learn how to up my people meter a little bit. But basically, whenever I'm going in, whenever businesses come to me, a lot of times, honestly, I love startups. And I love getting businesses before they're about 5 years old because I like to build the framework, right? I'm so good at getting in with these different industries. Construction's a little hard, so if you're in construction, maybe. But that's really the only one I've found that's a little difficult. But I love going into these companies and these industries and looking at their processes. Even if they have written down processes, is it streamlined? Do people know what they do? I have an extended HR and operational background, and I previously was a marketing director as well. So, I can kind of take these pieces from these different areas of the business and piece them all together so that they're cohesive, right? And I know what you're wanting to get to. What's the AI strategy? Everybody wants to know about AI. Honestly, it's a mix because sometimes I do come in and I say, you know what, there are actually tools that we can implement to help with this, to streamline some of this. Sometimes you already have the tools and you're not utilizing them to the best of their ability. So, and you don't know that. But where the AI strategy came in is, and I started doing this for, a couple people, and then I got certifications in it because there's a gap. There's a gap between people who understand the technical side of things and those who actually understand business strategy and business operations and how everything can flow together. And I realized I could fill that gap. I'd been filling that gap for so long, right? So most of the time, whenever I'm coming in with AI strategy, we start with a policy. If your business does not have, if you have especially more than just yourself in your business, you need an AI policy. That's not a pitch. That's just me telling you, put an AI policy in place to protect your business because your employees are probably using it and you don't even know it. They might not even know it because things like Copilot are wrapped into things like Microsoft, right? And especially if you're dealing with people's information, there's a whole lot that goes into that. So that's where we start. And then we create a plan for them on implementation, training, going through the operations and how all of that fits in. So I have a challenge for you guys. Am I sitting on good time right now?
Yeah.
Look at that. I didn't practice. So this is my challenge for you guys today, though. Embrace your limits. Whether out of fear, whether out of doubt, they are not reasons to shrink. They're not reasons to shrink. They're signals. They're signals in, what is holding you back? Go through. Sometimes it is operations. Sometimes I talk to somebody and the only thing that is holding them back is because they're not scalable, right? They got stuff in place right now. Now they're starting to grow, and they are the issue that's holding back the company because they fear because they're not scalable. Sometimes it's personal. You got to work through that too. But it's not our circumstances holding us back. It's our mindset, and it's us. And we really do become that barrier in our success. Live boldly. I tell everybody it's something that you'll see on my page. Courage is not defined by the absence of fear. It's being scared and doing it anyways. Doing stuff like this actually scares the crap out of me. After I leave out of here, I'll kind of hyperventilate for a second, and then I'll be like, "That was cool." So life scare us, from starting a business to getting married. I mean, personally and professionally, some of the best things in life cause us fear. So I challenge you to live boldly. And then one of my questions, and as I receive feedback for you, I would love, as you give your feedback, if you wanted to answer it, what would you do differently if you knew that your time was limited? What moves would you make so that you were not holding yourself back anymore and being your barrier? And that's me.
With some questions, so please, hands raised and off we go. So who'd like that? There we go, right center.
Hi Kayla, great job. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
So consulting, typically you're looking for something like a methodology as to how you're going to do things. Have you created for yourself a methodology for how you deliver services? And that kind of goes with my second piece, which is have you limited your services to a particular menu, or are you just sort of whatever the client needs, I'll do it? Either answer.
No, okay, I do have a methodology. And actually it's so funny because I have this process down on a sheet that just says Kayla's method because it was kind of a mix of other methods that I learned in my studies. But honestly, whenever I meet with a client and I'm thinking about my services, and I give this advice to all companies, you don't want to shotgun approach it. I don't want to do whatever they want to do because I used to be a marketing director, which means I used to do full stack development. I do not do that anymore. Okay, I don't want to do that. That's not where my passion lies. That's not my services. So yes, I have my services outlined. Business operations can definitely be a widespread, but it really depends on their needs. Sometimes I'll outsource that. I love meeting with people because I'm not a gatekeeper of knowledge. So, sometimes I can tell them, hey, I can help you with XYZ, but this, I don't do. But I got a phone number for you, and I got an email, and I'm going to connect you with this person. Because that's kind of, especially as an operational strategist that helps with those, that's kind of a part of it, is having those resources to give to my clients. So it's not like a curated menu. I do have on my website, I kind of have examples and stuff like that of things that I do. It does depend on the client, but I do have boundaries set in place, and I really do take everything and I put it through. If I take on this job, is this going towards my goals, and is it part of my values that I hold as a company and as a person? If yes, okay, well, let's go. Did that answer your question?
It does. Good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, go ahead.
I love your energy. Thank you for bringing that this morning.
Yeah.
Very needed at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So question. At what point does a small business look towards utilizing you?
So, like I said, I like to get in, honestly, at startup. So I have startup fees. I have a startup rate that's a lot lower because I like to fill that gap, right? And part of, and you'll see this all over my socials, is that I like to be affordable. So I kind of meet businesses where they're at, and as a startup, what I'll do is help you form that foundational piece and go forward. But I have had, companies, if they're a little bit bigger, really at any point in time, I can be helpful. There's only been one client that ever reached out to me, and let me tell you, he thought he was a mess. He had everything together. I was like, what do you need me for? I'm like, you have processes everywhere, but he needed a strategy because he was growing. He said, by next year, he said, I'm gonna be at $1 million. And I said, oh, he's also a 1-person team. He was like, yeah, I need to be a 5-person team. He needed that strategy to grow. So whenever we talk about, where businesses are at, everyone needs that strategy and that plan so that as they grow, they don't get stuck in a position where they're like, oh man, I don't know if any of you have been in that in-between where your business is growing, but you also can't keep up as well. And you're like, maybe I should hire people, but I don't technically make enough to hire people. But if I hire people, I will make enough to hire people, right? That's, I mean, so it's all a part of that. So it really just depends. Honestly, the only ones that I rarely take on are like the major corporations. I really do like that small, medium business, and small is sometimes one person. So good question though. Awesome. Anybody else?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. That was great. I had a good question. Okay. We got a lot of creatives in this room, so I'm curious, did your brain injury traject you into a creative space? Do you think differently? Is that why you strategize? Do you consider yourself more creative or more left brain? That's a lot of questions. But.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I don't know if it was necessarily the brain surgery or the clarity of having to go through the situation and face my own mortality, that I was always a creative person. I just held myself back a lot. I mean, it was always there. It just kind of unlocked and said, hey, I'm here, let me out, let's go, I'm ready to do this. And I had to embrace that, fear and all. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Great job. I'm hearing this a lot, this AI strategy, plus it's
Yeah.
a new and upcoming thing, things come to change. And AI strategies kind of help me understand that, because AI is very tricky. I had somebody create a couple of things for me, and both times the date was wrong. And it was so interesting how we really still have to humanize, and we rely on AI. Sometimes I think a little bit too much.
Amen.
And it can be kind of damaging, because they gave me a date for June the 20th, and actually it was July the 20th. And it was very scary to put something out and then pull it back. So that was one thing.
Yeah, so I can develop AI, but I don't do the development side. That's not where my goals and my values are. My goals and my values are around that strategy. The person who developed that should have given you some direction in that, because here's the thing, and I'm gonna give this to you for free. AI will always need a human eye. It's gonna be wrong. Anything and everything that you utilize to develop or put out, you shouldn't be just posting it up. You shouldn't be just sending that email. You have to read everything, and that's a part of like the strategy that I go in and I help to train people and business owners with their AI and everything. So yeah, I'm sorry that happened though. But yeah, no, he should have told you.
Crazy, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
My
definitely.
sister always in Serbia.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. But thank God that we survived the brain injury. Our oldest daughter had one brain surgery.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do you balance the nonprofit and your full-time business?
So as a strategist, I'm very strategic. Really and truly, that comes down to I've worked with a lot of nonprofits prior to opening hours. So I knew going in that I needed to have a really good board in place, especially as a new nonprofit that wasn't going to be able to hire a team. So it comes down to spreading those responsibilities. We have a plan. Of course, we meet like every single month. We'll have some like meetings in between this, that, and the other. And that's how it's balanced. We're very honest and true to each other about our capacity. Who can take on what. And so it's not just me doing everything. They basically made me the face just because I don't mind doing the things like this. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a full team effort. And I was very transparent whenever I was interviewing my board members. And, we're a new nonprofit, and especially up to the first 5 years, I'm like, this is hands-on. You can expect to put in maybe about 10 hours a month of work on this. And some people bowed out, and that was okay because I appreciated their honesty and their capacity. But those who are on board are here, and they're on board, and we talk and we communicate, what we can and cannot do. Yeah.
Mr. Tom, did you have a question?
Me? Yeah. Me?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Yeah. I I wouldn't suggest it following your path, because I've been down your path too, where you stand and look at the doctor, and the doctor says you've got to have surgery, and there's a 10% chance you won't make it.
Amen.
But when you wake up, it gives you a different perspective.
It does.
And I think you've been through that perspective changing aspect of it. Can you talk a little bit more about that? You know, just the personal side of dealing with that personal activity. Right.
Before she answers that,
Yeah.
can we piggyback to that?
Yeah.
Can we add how you overcame that fear?
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
So, admittedly, whenever I went into the hospital, I had lost the ability to walk that day. All of a sudden, my amazing, I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit here. His face is gonna turn red. My amazing husband here, Brad, got me to the
Brad?
hospital. Yeah, Brad. Shout out to Brad. Ooh, Brad. First off, there was a lot of advocating there, and I won't go into all of that, but once they admitted me to the hospital, it actually took them like 3 or 4 days to figure out exactly what was going wrong and exactly how to game plan. So during that time, I was thinking a lot, personally and professionally. Holy cow, you know, this
Holy something.
something I won't say in recording. But you know, this might be it, you know, and I'll be honest, I mean, the biggest part was trying not to spiral, but also allow myself to have those thoughts, because it's understandable, and it was emotions that I had to work through. And so I allowed myself to have those thoughts, and I would sit there and honestly kind of like meditate and breathe and say, yeah, this might be it. Now you're thinking about your regrets, so let's think on that, you know? And it's funny because like most of my regrets revolved around my professional life. My personal life was great. I got a great husband, you know. You know, and so my personal life was fantastic. I realized, you know, that was really where I was holding myself back, and instead of letting those thoughts, it really revolved around trying to circle that peace, trying to find that peace. What would give me that peace? You know, okay, you have these regrets. Well, you can't do nothing about it now. So you know, if this is it, we need to release it. We need to let it go. But if it's not it, and honestly, that helped my brain though, because I needed something to look forward to. I needed something to, like I said, my brain's operational, right? It's always going, like planning and doing personally and professionally and everything I do in life. And I realized sitting in that bed was boring. My brain was not getting stimulated, you know, well, stimulated by something, but not what I needed. And yeah, I mean, it really was asking it, okay, so when we get out of here, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep holding yourself back? Are you stubborn? I was like talking to myself, okay? Like I'm talking to like my potential future self that is not in the hospital, you know, so from the hospital bed, that's kind of how I pictured it in my head. And I was like, so what are you going to do? Because you can keep going on like this, and I mean, it's okay. You know, it's okay. But guess what? These are your regrets. This is what you're thinking about in this point in time. So clearly it's important to you. Clearly this is your passion, you know? And I've been helping people for so long. Y'all, honestly, one of my values in work and in life is that I like to put more positivity than negativity into the world. That's what I say. And so, you know, I was like, yeah, sure, you've been on the back end doing this, but do you know how much you could do if you just stepped out of the shadows? Do you know how many more people you could help if you just stop letting that fear hold you back? You know, it was like a pep talk / lecture, you know, with myself, and then working myself past that guilt of feeling it, of saying, it's okay that I have these regrets. Not a lot of people have to face what I'm facing right now. And what matters most is not that I haven't done the things, and it's not that I have this regret right now. What matters most is what I do with it and the actions that I take after this. And, you know, it was heavy. That wasn't just one conversation. That was multiple. I was in the hospital for 11 straight days the first time and 4 days the second time. And yeah, I mean, the funny thing is for my second surgery, because I started kind of taking those steps, I was more excited to get out of the hospital. I was even more amped up. And you know, my thoughts were not my regrets. My thoughts were like, okay, so we've done steps. You know, we've started doing this. You know, my thoughts were more along the lines of, I hope I can, I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to keep doing this. You know, because then sitting on a potential deathbed for the second time, it felt so good not to have all of those regrets and all of that negativity washing over me, and being able to focus on man, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing for myself, for my business, for my community, for my nonprofit. I was like, woo! I'm like, all right, so if this is the time, I'm happy. You know, but I knew I wasn't done yet either. Good.
I think that's why I wanted to add the fear onto what Tom asked.
Yeah.
Because we throttled back our businesses.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Out of fear. And it's not fear of failure, it's actually fear of success.
Amen. Yes.
You know, well, what if it works?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if I get these clients?
Yes.
You know, what if people need my services or my product?
Yes.
And I get business.
And then what do I do, right?
Yeah. So our subconscious sometimes goes, you don't want to push that hard.
Right.
You know, let the will, yeah.
And you know what? Since, you know, especially since diving headfirst into the nonprofit and my business, I do face that still sometimes.
Yeah.
I tell it to suck it. I go, why are you having this thought right now? Because if we do grow, guess what? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's I'm one of the few people, I don't believe in a plan B. Once you jump out of the airplane, there's only a plan A.
Yeah, that parachute.
If the parachute don't work, then, you know, I can't get back to the plane.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so.
Sure. Two questions. I'm Kevin Schumacher, first time back in a few years. So first, who's in the picture? Because that seems like a really large company.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you know this, but the South Carolina State Fair is actually a nonprofit organization. The whole reason that they hold their event is because they provide up to 150 scholarships a year for kids here in South Carolina to go to school. So they started a new program last year. They gave me a phone call and they said, hey, I know this is a little bit outside of the realm, but we tried to start this thing for the fair. It's a marketplace. And the person that we hired just kind of dropped it. And I was like, okay. They said she tried her best, but too much going on. You know, we need help. So I had 3 months to put together a whole thing for the fair. And that was interesting. A good challenge. It's a little bit out of the norm, but not really, because I had to go in and really develop this program for them. You know, a lot of meetings in what the processes, procedures, all that kind of stuff are. So this is a picture of me and some of my vendors at one of the places, at one of the marketplaces that we put together. The marketplace is 100% made, grown, or sewn here in South Carolina. So it's kind of an exclusive market. But last year we had 29 vendors, and this year it's looking like we're going to have about 50. So, and it's all South Carolina, and I thought that was so cool. So I love this picture. They're a really good crowd. Yeah, you had a second question?
Sure. So a lot of people want to jump into business.
Yep.
One of the things that you had was 10 plus years experience kind of doing what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
When do you think, if you'd had the courage, when do you think you could have successfully gone into business? Would it have been after year 2, year 5?
Yeah.
Where is that safety, well, I shouldn't say safety zone, but where you have enough experience to be successful?
I really honestly believe that it depends on what you're doing. For me personally, if I think back about 2-3 years in, because with what I do, I needed experience across different industries. I needed to be able to experience those nuances that, I mean, getting certifications and a degree is like great, but then there's nothing like those real world experiences where you're like, what on earth? This is in no textbook, and so I really needed that. So I would say for what I do, at least about 3 years, dip your toes in, maybe do some upward stuff, like, to try to gain even more during that time. And then you can probably take off. But it depends on what you're doing, how much experience you're getting during that time. And I really think how you're getting that experience matters too. If you're just at one company, so if I had just been like one company for 10 years doing this, I couldn't have what I have right now because I didn't get the diversity of experience across the different industries and things like that. So yeah, for me though, I think about the 3-year mark, I probably could have made that jump. But I think the next few years following before I made the leap also did help me develop my network too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Where and how do you find your clients?
So honestly, I mean, I'm doing all the things. I used to be a marketing director, so I can't slack on my marketing. I'm doing all the things as far as, like I have some advertisements out here and there. But honestly, I mainly get them, about 85% of mine are referral based, and I like that though. I really like that. And whenever I'm looking for a new client, I mean, most of the time I'll send out a message to my clients, especially the ones that I like. And I'll just tell them like, hey, past clients or current clients, I'll say, hey, like I have a spot open. Do you know anybody? And 9 times out of 10, I'll get emails, saying, oh yes, I'm so glad you have like space open because you've done this for me. I'm connecting you with so-and-so, and then I'll get like an email introduction. So most of mine have been referral based, which is perfect right now because it's just kind of me and an assistant. So
you said a spot open. So is that what people do? They purchase a spot. So like this particular marketplace would have called you and you would have sat down and told them how big the spot would be and what your cost would be. Is that how you price yourself?
Well, by spot, I mean like capacity, because I am very, to be successful, I have to be very clear and transparent about my capacity, right? And so when I say spot, I just mean like, my goal, honestly, if you're using me, you're not going to have me on for an extremely long time. I think the longest that I've had a client keep me on is about 2-3 years, depending on the project. But the goal is for me to build you up so that you don't need me.
Absolutely.
Hit me up when you're in that next phase. Yeah. So I have different capacities. There's certain clients of different sizes, different industries that I'll take, knowing exactly how many hours a week or a month I'll be dedicating to them. So when I say have a spot open, that's what I mean. And sometimes it doesn't fit. Sometimes, maybe I had a client that contract closed out and they were a 10-hour a month client, but I get one that's like a 30-hour a month referred to me. That's something that I really have to analyze and look at to see if, that's within my capacity.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Time for about one more question. Anyone else want to squeeze one? Here we go, Tom.
I'm picking up information from several nonprofits that I'm familiar with and work with. There's a lot of stress out there in the marketplace today for nonprofits. The funding sources are changing, they're drying up, federal, state government, and organizations like that. What do you say to someone who has traditionally funded themselves through several year grants or whatever from sources that aren't there anymore? I see it's becoming very competitive for the philanthropic dollar right now.
Yeah, so first off, if a nonprofit is not in that space yet, they need a sustainability plan. The organization, all organizations need one in case something happens, but particularly organizations that depend on grants and outside funding, they need a sustainability plan in order to say, okay, it's kind of like that emergency plan. House is on fire, we exit this one. But for those who are already there, because I have 2 clients right now that I'm working with, and that's one of the things that I'm actually assisting them with is their strategy around all of this. most of them we're taking it back to the grassroots. Nonprofits are community owned. Nonprofits are here for the community because they literally are owned by the community. That's what a 501c3 is, no matter what their subcategory is. And so taking it back to the grassroots and engaging more with their people and, doing more of those fundraisers that, back at the beginning when you were small to medium or what have you that you were doing, engaging with their donors, things like that. And honestly, it's come down to that humanization piece and operating transparently. Well, one of my clients, one of the best things they did was send out an email to like some of their people who have been helping them and sponsoring them for years and say, hey, so for the past 15 years, we've gotten this grant and this is what it has helped with and this is what it has sustained. At this point, we have to make a decision whether to cut this program or see if you guys can help us out in the meantime while we figure out a game plan. They operated very transparently with their donor and they came through. Those donors came through and said, oh snap, because they appreciate that. Trying to put on a front, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to bring in your funding. Yeah, of course.
Would you like to do the final question?
Kayla, thanks for a great presentation. What can 1 million cups do for you?
So I thought about this. And really and truly, of course, I'm going to start coming to more meetings. I used to come before COVID. And then honestly, I kind of forgot about it. I got mixed up in my own stuff. I kind of get busy with surgery. But in all honesty, this sounds so cliche and cheesy, guys, but that's who I am. Just keep being here. I love the resources that you guys are doing. If y'all have any questions, of course, reach out. But one of the best things that 1 Million Cups has brought for me has been being able to, of course, this free event, connecting with people, being able to ask questions like on the Facebook page, like you were asking, and things like that. Now, if anybody wants to support and go and like my Facebook page, you can too. And that's me.
Please enjoy your holiday and please join us the following week and all future weeks. We'd love to see you. You can hang out for a bit and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you.
And whoever's grilling, just leave a note over here so I can drop by.
Yeah.
towards each other.
That's why I would say, like, my expert advice would be, do it 2 days. If you got 17, do 2 one day, you do 7 the next. That way, you're not, again, you get there in the morning, and then it's more likely that the sun is lit, the light is, you're going to have a little more time to actually get out and you start all being realistic.
That's what I started retirement or whatever.
Probably try to be best.
Somebody,
especially when the light isn't it'll be really good if the day we choose, if it's cloudy. Once we figure out what's going to be the best angle and how we're going to do all of the same thing, so we can get the consistency. And once we get that, it's going to be the second time.
And this is money, he made it. This is everything comes from my company. Oh wow, I gotta go there. I gotta go. Tell them that you're gonna give it back.
Well, I heard indirectly, so I know talking to him. But I know well enough, I can call her and say,
I paid the price.
well, I like to hear that.